Hello again and welcome back to Seed Time and Harvest. As you can see, once again, we are in the kitchen for another exciting video, and I'm going to be doing something that I really love and I hope you are going to love and enjoy too. We're going to make our world's famous, Sanchez's world's famous granola. Well, maybe not world famous, but it's famous in my house. My husband loves granola, and after this video, you're gonna like it too, and you're gonna be starting to make your own granola. So let's get right into it. What we're gonna need for our granola, of course, you're gonna need a bowl, the biggest bowl you have in your home. This is really small compared to what I use at home. The bigger the better, whatever you have. If it's just one person, this may work, but if you have a big family like I do, you're gonna need a bigger bowl. You're gonna need a large spoon, a measuring cup with a smaller spoon. You will need a spatula. Just a silicone spatula will work, and parchment paper, and a baking tray, and a lot of other ingredients, as you can see here. Now, don't get overwhelmed with everything you see on the table. I mean, you can be as simple as you want to be with granola, but I like a lot of stuff in my granola. Okay, I make granola pretty often, and when I do, I go all out. It's very expensive, you know, when you have to go to the store and buy a packet of granola. This is 15 ounces. 15 ounces of granola is going to run you about $6–7. But when you think about making it yourself, you're going to be paying, what, $1 per ounce? Of course, the initial ingredients is going to be very expensive when you have to go out and buy nuts, seeds, oats, you buy honey, all the things that you need. But when you make a batch, you will have a lot left over that you can make another batch and another batch and another batch. And before you know it, your dehydration pantry is going to be overflowing with granola that you will enjoy. Breakfast, lunch, a light supper, granola, you can have it at any time of the day. Okay, even after a meal as your dessert, it will be well. So let's get into it. You may be wondering, why do I have a blender here? Well, that's my, I wouldn't say, trick. That's my specialty when I make granola. I like blending, or even if I have what you call it, a food processor would be ideal. But today I'm going to be working with my blender. So I have rolled oats as my first ingredients here, and then I have quick oats. The choice is yours. You can use both of them, or you can just use one of each. I'll tell you why. If you like a chewy, hearty granola, rolled oats will be better. Of course, the oat slices are bigger. It's a lot harder to chew, and it just gives you more, I guess, when you make granola. But if you like a light, flaky, crunchy granola, then the quick oats would be ideal. Now, for what I like to do, I just get a little bit of the quick oats and I blend it. This is completely optional. I'm gonna put about ½ cup in the blender, and I'm just gonna blend it for it to get like a powdery consistency. I like that because it sort of binds everything together. So let me make sure my blender is on, and I'll just quickly pulse this. 1 second, it will get loud. Nothing too fancy. I'm gonna put that in my container. Again, it's not fine powder, but it just gives a little bit of a dust to hold things together. You'll find that when you buy granola, it may have rice flour or some form of flour in the recipe. This is my way of creating that flour. And because I'm not making a whole lot, I'm gonna put about ½ cup of rolled oats. And then I'm gonna use another cup of the quick oats. You can please use a measuring cup if you so choose. People ask me, Cherise, what's exactly in your food? I can't tell you what's exactly in my food because I like to add a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I just basically wing it. I eye things, and I taste it. If it looks like it needs more color, I'd add a little more color to it, but make it your own. And for this one, I'm gonna add a little more of the quick oats. So about 1.5 cups of each. Making my dry ingredients first, give that a nice whisk. In addition to the oats, I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. You're gonna need about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm using pink salt. If you don't have pink salt available where you are, try to get a nice sea salt, okay? Table salt is not the best, but try to get a good sea salt, all right? We advocate health. I'm gonna use coriander. People will use cinnamon. I don't use cinnamon. Coriander is a good cinnamon replacement. If you don't know what coriander is, I hope everybody knows what coriander is. It's actually the seed of the cilantro plant. So if you don't have coriander, but you have cilantro to put in your fall garden, you may want to take a few of those cilantro seeds, grind it up a bit, and there you have coriander powder. So I'm gonna put a good amount of coriander in my container because I like the smell. I like the flavor that it gives. Again, make it yours. And then I'm gonna be using vanilla powder. I like the Watkins vanilla powder. If you have vanilla bean, you can add that too. I'm gonna put some in here, just a good little bit of vanilla. I mean, you can't put too much vanilla, in my opinion. Just make it your own. So I'm gonna give that a nice whisk. All these extra stuff I'm gonna add later, but this is it for the base of my granola. A lot of people may pause at this point and put the oats in the oven and have that baked, because this is actually the only thing that needs to be cooked is your oats. But then, you know, you're gonna put your fruits in later and you just want those to blend well. I'm gonna avoid that step and just get everything in the oven all together. Now for my wet ingredients, I'm gonna have oil. The oil I'm gonna be using is the virgin olive oil. I try to avoid extra virgin because it has a strong flavor to it. I don't want any oil with a strong flavor profile to dominate the granola. So virgin olive oil, you can use avocado oil, you can use sunflower oil, whatever oil you so choose. So I'm gonna put about 1/2 cup of oil. And you may say, Cherise, that's a lot of oil, but then it's a lot of granola, okay? And it has a good heat index to it. It can tolerate heat very well. So the oil is necessary because that's gonna be the binder for your dry ingredients. Also, I'm gonna have another 1/2 cup of honey, a 1/2 cup of honey rather, totaling 1 cup of liquid ingredient. I don't use sugar in my granola. Sugar tends to make everything all crunchy, and I don't want that. Liquid sweetener is always the best. You can use honey, you can use agave, you can use maple syrup, and it will be good, okay? When you add the oil first, it prevents the honey from sticking to the jar. Of course, it's not gonna combine 100% like this. For you to have your oil and your honey to combine, you can put it in a saucepan, put it on the oven, heat the sugar so that it mixes well. But then that's where my blender comes in, okay? So I get this all mixed in, and then just gonna get my 1 cup. I'm gonna pour it over my oats, and you see all the honey, how easily that comes out, all right? It's not sticking to the jar. All of that is in my container, and that's it for the measuring cup. Everything else is just a free hand. So I'm gonna mix this really well. You can use your big spoon, a spatula. You can even get in there with your hand. I mean, if you're at home and you want everything to be incorporated really nicely, you can use your hand and get that all mixed in. All right, so I'm gonna stop at this point, and this is where everything else comes in. Now, you can put this in the oven and you have a nice granola. Just the honey and oats, plain and simple, will make a wonderful granola. But again, I like extra. So all of this, I'll tell you a little bit of what I have. You can put all of them together. You can use a few ingredients. You can make it special. Make it your own world famous granola, okay? So I have raisins, I have sunflower seeds, I have flax seeds. Because flax seeds whole is just gonna go right through the system, I grind my flax seeds to make a flax powder, which is best. You know, you're gonna add some good omega to your granola. I have sliced almonds, gives it a nice crunchy texture. My most favorite thing to add in any form of granola or cereal is pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds is really, really good. And if you have parasites, add a lot of pumpkin seeds to your diet. Helps the body get rid of parasites. I have some dried blueberries. You can add pineapples, you can add dried strawberries, you can add banana, you know, whatever it is you like, you can add it to your granola. Even chia seeds. I love chia seeds. I didn't bring any blended chia seeds, but I'm gonna put some of the chia seeds in here. However little, however a lot you want. You can put, what do you call those things? Cashews, you can put Brazil nuts, you can put pecans, walnuts, you name it. One thing or everything a little bit of everything, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do. A little bit of everything. I love the color profile with the raisins and the pumpkin seeds. So that's it. We're gonna add a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's gonna be delicious, okay? So just put in some things in my granola. It's gonna be delicious. I always go over on pumpkin seed. I love pumpkin seeds. I'm gonna add some blueberries here. The color contrast is just really, really pretty. I'm gonna add some chia seeds, not too much chia seeds. And the last thing I'm gonna add would be my coconut, my shredded coconut. What I did, I went ahead and I shredded it even further because, you know, coconut tend to stick out and I don't want it to burn. So I shredded some coconut, and I'm gonna incorporate that, and it will just make everything really nice. And this is where you put your hand in it, all right, to get everything nicely incorporated. Okay, you just want everything to be coated with honey and oil, all your ingredients to blend well. If you have a food processor, you can pulse this and just put it on your baking tray, put it in the oven. I don't have my food processor available, so I'm just gonna get about a third of this batch. I'm gonna put it in my blender, and I'm gonna pulse it. You don't wanna put too much in there because it won't pulse well. So if I have a few pieces that really clump, oh, I forgot to add the sliced almonds. This gives it a nice added crunch. And again, these are already dried, so you may not even need to add your dry fruits when you bake it, but I like to do that for mine. All right, and that's it. It just helps to incorporate everything, all your ingredients together. It makes it into a nice clustered granola versus a crumbly granola. If you like crumbly granola, I mean, that's okay too. I mean, it's gonna be eaten. But if you like that crunchy, chewy, crunchy, rich texture, hearty granola, then go ahead and give it a nice little pulse just to incorporate some of the ingredients better. And look at that. That's the color. You see the red from the raisins, you see the green from the pumpkin seeds, the black from the dried blueberries, the chia seeds. Everything looks nice and it smells delicious, okay? Next step, we are going to get our baking tray. We're gonna line our baking tray. When you cook granola, not really cook, but when you bake your granola, you wanna go to perhaps the lowest setting on your oven, okay? I always say low and slow is better than quick and high, because if your temperature is too high, you will find that your nuts, your seeds, especially your coconut that's already dehydrated, already dried, they will burn. And nobody wants a burnt granola. Okay, so slow and slow. If your oven goes down to 250, 200, that would be the ideal temperature. And how long you bake your granola for, I can't really tell you how long it's gonna take. For me, when I bake granola, about 25 to 30 minutes. That all depends on the humidity. It depends on the type of oven you have. If you have a convection oven, of course, everything will blow better. If you have a gas oven, the timing will be different versus if you have an electric oven. So you just want to watch your granola. What I like to do is eyeball what the color of your granola is before you put it in the oven. You see, everything right now is light. When this is baked, it's supposed to be nicely golden brown on top, not burnt. So the color will be different. You eye the color, then you'll know when your granola is done, okay? Even as it's in the oven baking, when you just take it out of the oven, all the sugars are still hot, so it's not gonna be crispy, okay? So I'm gonna tell you what to do to get that crispy texture of your granola. So I'm just gonna spread everything out on my baking sheet. Again, I like clustered granola, so I'm gonna make everything firmly packed. If you don't have a hard spoon, you can get the extra piece of parchment paper, and what you will do is you'll just put it over the top and compact it. When you do this, you can even make granola bars. You can make it firm enough so once it's baked, once it's cooled, you can slice your granola into granola bars. So I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna compact my mixture here. Make sure everything is all compact, nicely pressed down. The middle, have you ever baked things, when you take it out of the oven, you realize the edges are done, but the middle is undercooked? That happens to me a lot with granola. And then over the years, I figured the center of the pan, it doesn't get as much heat as the edges. So to compensate for the minimal heat in the middle, what I do is I make the amount of granola in the middle of my pan less than it would be on the edges, if that makes sense. If you have a big enough pan, you can make a circle in the middle where you'll have no granola, okay? So you don't have that undercooked center. So I would press my center really thin so that everything cooks evenly, okay? So just, if you have a big pan, again, don't put any in the center. But if you don't have a big pan, just try to push everything out towards the edges so that the edges will be cooked and the center will be cooked as well. And that's it. It's that easy. That did not take 30 minutes. And look at that. It already looks pretty, okay? So we're gonna get this in the oven, 250 degrees. We're gonna bake it for about 20 to 30 minutes. We're gonna eye it. You see the color of it right now prior to it going in the oven. That color should change slightly before we take it out the oven, or when we take it out the oven. Okay? Let me just break all this extra parchment off, and we will get this granola in the oven. And that's it. While your granola is baking, you can do all your cleanup. If you have extra batches to make, this is where you would get your extra baking trays. You'll set out your parchments, and then you just stack your trays. Because when I make granola, I make like 6, 7 trays, and my oven will only fit 4 trays. So while those 4 is baking, this is where you're gonna continue your prep and package, ready for it to go in the oven. So I will see you when our granola is finished baking. All right, our granola is done. Sanchez family breakfast is served. Doesn't that look amazing? homemade granola, very simple, easy steps that anybody can follow, right? And you can tell the difference in the color from when it first went in the oven until now. You can see that it's a lot darker in color, and it has been sitting for a few minutes, so it's really, really firm. When it first comes out the oven, all your sugars are still warm, so it's not gonna be as clustered as it is now. Letting it cool for about 15-20 minutes will harden that granola, and then everything will be ready for storage. The next step is to get your mason jar, your storage container of choice. One thing I want to mention at this point, you want to make sure all your hands, all your utensils are dry. We do not want to introduce any moisture to our cooked granola or baked granola. So dry hands, dry tools, and we can get our granola ready for storage. I really like using the parchment paper because everything is so easy to get removed from your baking tray. I will just simply turn it over and remove that parchment. Now, if you have too much honey, too much grease, you will find that your granola may stick to the parchment paper. And if it's burnt, it will stick. And you don't want to eat parchment, so you have a hole, and very easy to get that removed. Next, if you need granola bar, of course, you can turn it over onto a flat surface. You can get your, what is that tool called? Pizza cutter. You can get a pizza cutter. You can make slices to make granola bar. But we're not making granola bar at this time, so I'm just gonna simply crumble it. We're gonna make granola clusters. My family would prefer granola clusters. We're gonna crumble this and put it in our mason jar. Again, your storage container of choice. If all you have is that big old container like I have over there, that's great. If you have a Ziploc bag, those are great too. You just need an airtight container that will not allow any moisture to get in. I'm gonna put in big chunks and then I'm gonna shake it up. That's gonna break it into pieces. You just need dry hands. At this point, dry hands and your container, and your granola is ready to go. You know, with my children, they like the idea of buying things. So in the past, I would get these brown window resealable bags, put the granola in there. I just use a flat iron and seal the top and packet it in my pantry, and they will go in almost like they're shopping for granola. Okay, so whatever container you have at home that will provide moisture-free, nice, sealed environment, go ahead and store your granola there and enjoy. It's that simple. You can do it. You don't need an Excalibur or Nesco. No dehydrator needed. Only what you have in your home, your stove, right? It's very simple. 250 degrees, 20-30 minutes, your granola is done. You don't need to get all these extra stuff. You can start with 1 or 2 nuts or seeds. Just try it, okay? Try it. I promise you won't regret it. You will enjoy homemade granola, okay? I hope you go out, you get your ingredients, you know, whatever it is you can find. You may even have some of these things at home already. We love oatmeal. Who doesn't like oatmeal? So you have the #1 ingredients down pack. We all may use oil, we all may use honey, and even raisins. Almost every house has raisin. So that's a start to your granola journey. Get started. I'm looking forward to your comments talking about your world famous granola, okay? I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm looking forward to the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell me your testimony of how you enjoyed your granola. Until next time, thank you for joining us on Seed Time and Harvest. Bye. We've really been enjoying your comments. Your feedback has been a blessing and a motivation for me. And so I have a request of you, okay? Once you've made your granola, send us a picture so we can showcase it on our next video. That easy, okay? Just take a picture, send it to our email, gardenevangelist@gmail.com. It should be in the comment section and you should see somewhere here. gardenevangelist@gmail.com so we can showcase your granola on our next video. Thank you. Bye.